Welcome to Edge of the Rabbit Hole on Haunted Road Media. Tonight we have Hollywood producer Christopher Peters with us in the house. Going to be a great show coming up next. All right, everybody, welcome to Edge of the Rabbit Hole on Haunted Road Media. I'm Mike Ricksecker, author and ghost historian, with my co-host, as always, Vanessa Hogel. And down in the chat, we have our chat shenanigator, Shauna, handling all chat-related items down there. So we have a really special treat on deck for us tonight. Hollywood producer Christopher Peters is with us. He's worked on some things, I don't know, like Batman, Superman, what was it recently? A Star is Born. Some really great films. His father was Hollywood legendary producer Jon Peters. His mother is award-winning actress Lesley Ann Warren. So we have a big name in the house with us tonight, and he's going to be sharing with us about his experiences with extraterrestrials, being a contactee, some things that you don't usually hear Hollywood people talk about, but Christopher is he's an open book and he wants to talk about these things. So Christopher, welcome to the show. Or did I just get disconnected and lose everybody? I think I get disconnected.
I'm not.
And there it goes.
Well, I tell you. There you go, Michael. You back now?
There we go. It's going to be one of those evenings. Yep.
It is. That's frontier for you.
Yep.
Christopher, like we talked about before we started the show. I know that Mike was getting everything ready, and we were talking, and it would be wonderful if you would go ahead and give us, whatever information you have. How did this start? Where did it come from? What were your first noticings of it? Just kind of fill us in, if you would.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And again, thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you.
It's a wonderful, amazing blessing for me, honestly, to have a chance to talk with you guys. I watched some of the shows that you've done. I'm a fan, and just have the opportunity to share this is huge. So thank you. So basically, I'm 50 years old. I grew up in Southern California. Family is entertainment business. My mom, Lesley Ann Warren, my dad, Jon Peters, they were together from, birth to 5 years old. Then my dad broke up with my mom and got together with Barbara Streisand. My stepmom lived together with Barbara and my dad, in Malibu during the 70s for 15 years, and sort of grew up in that world. And I played soccer as a kid, never wanted to be in the film business because of the shadow of my dad. I just didn't feel like I could live up to it, but always loved movies. Wanted to be a pro soccer player, almost got on the junior Olympic team at the end of my teens, and then hurt my ankle and kind of drifted into the film world. And so like in my early 20s, I worked at Canon Films as a runner, and then worked my way up for film companies. My dad as a low-level kind of creative executive, and in my early 20s, when I was 24, I raised the money to start Ultimate Fighting Championship. I helped them get their money, and then I went down and did another raise and did a show called Combat with Showtime, which was a competing show back in the UFC days when it first started. And I was working with my dad all along that time as the creative executive, scripts, developing material, and it was also, so in the fight world, I was, going along side by side, movie fight world. I was in the fight world for a bunch of years, managed fighters like Vitor Belfort, Frank Shamrock. So the furthest thing away from paranormal or any of that, I never really was interested in any of those things. UFOs, paranormal, not really at all. I mean, I was a fan of Star Wars, but not like a super fan. Saw it maybe a couple times. Saw, Close encounters a few times in life. I'm working for my dad's company. I work my way up to, sort of running the business for him. The years go by, and that's it. I'm married for 15 years. Like I said, I'm 50. So a couple years ago, the serious film. And for whatever reason, and up to that point again, I was not watching UFO documentaries. I was not watching ghost stories. I mean, I have a friend, Kevin Burns, that owns a company, Prometheus. They do Ancient Aliens. So, I'd watch that show once in a while, and I'm blown away by it. It makes a huge impact on me. I don't know why, but I just loved it. So I was so excited. I went and shared it with and her husband Ron, and they watched it, and they were like, "Yeah, I don't believe it. It's just okay." They didn't get it at all, and I was like dumbfounded. You amazing movie, you not just see that, and they didn't. So then I think about excuse me. I think about maybe. Oh no! So what happened was, so after that movie, I was so on fire about the movie that I thought, oh, you know what? Stephen Greer was series, just doing one about his life because he's, apparently being pursued by the shadow government and all these different things. And I thought, great idea for reality shows. So I was able to get a hold of Stephen, and we kind of went back and forth to do a show, and he wanted to do it but didn't want to do it, and eventually said no because he just thought it would never happen, which I disagreed, but it didn't work out. So that went away. And then I think about 6 months to a year later, the next movie comes out, and I said, this is an unacknowledged film. Loved it.
Yeah, that was great.
I saw the second movie, maybe, sorry?
I said, yeah, that was great.
Couldn't hear you. What'd you say?
I was just saying unacknowledged was great. Am I cutting out?
Oh, sorry. It was.
It's all right.
Yeah, it was great. There was a little bit of echo on my end. So, oh yeah, great movie. Yeah, totally love it. Yeah. So basically what happened was after I saw Unacknowledged, about 6 months passes. And so it's one day, we're having the trash cans delivered to our house from the city because we need new trash cans. It's clear skies. So I'm walking down the driveway. It's about 12 in the afternoon, blue skies, nothing going on. I get the trash cans. I'm walking up the driveway with the trash cans. And I just casually look up above our house. I'm facing the house. And I see in the sky, about maybe 150 feet, 200 feet in the sky, I see this object in the sky. And I'm looking at it going, what? My brain doesn't understand what it is I'm looking at because it's not a plane. It's not a helicopter. It's the size of a helicopter, but it's not making any sound. It's just sitting there in the sky, hovering at about 200 feet in the sky. It looks like a giant walnut, and it's got pieces of metal coming off of each side in like an X pattern. So it's sitting there. It's like the size of a helicopter. I'm looking at this thing. There's no sound, and I'm watching it for about 5, 10 minutes, and I think to my head, oh my God, that's a UFO. And the second that I think that, the entire thing lights up golden, like a bright, brilliant color golden in the sky, and I'm watching it blown away for another like few minutes, and I'm like talking in my head like, oh my God, that's the UFO. I say it again, and then after I say it again, it starts doing golden patterns, like as if the entire face of it metal, and so then it's lights up golden, and then it starts doing these patterns, and I'm totally blown away. I'm seeing this thing literally like the entire front of it turns into almost like as if it could project images, and it's doing these kind of weird like hieroglyphic type of images, and I don't know what I'm looking at, but I'm totally blown away. And it takes your brain a minute to like process what it is that you're looking at, what's going on. And so I watched this thing for like 25 minutes, totally like beside myself, but also like, oh shit, I got to get back to work. And, but I don't want to leave this moment. And so I watch it probably 30 minutes, and then it slowly starts to drift up in the sky higher and higher, and then it's gone. And I'm just kind of left with like, oh my God, what just happened? What did I just see? And so my mom is a woman that super close with, my mom, Lesley Ann Warren. She's been through drug addiction with me. I've been sober many years. I mean, she's seen me. We've talked about everything. There's nothing we can't talk about. So I pick up the phone and I call her. I'm so excited to tell her. I get her on the phone. I'm like, Mom, you can't believe what I just saw. I saw this object in the sky. It was a UFO. I think it was a UFO. It wasn't a plane. And the reaction that I got from my mom was kind of like somebody hit me with her. I was expecting excitement and commiseration and joy, but I got anger. I got like, are you on drugs? Worry, concern. And I was like processing her reaction as she was saying the words, and I was like, okay, I got to get out of this conversation and manage. So I managed the conversation with love and respect. I got out of it. I was like, don't worry, it's fine. It was crazy. Don't worry about it. So that night, my wife gets home from work. I tell her the same story, the same reaction. She's pissed. She's like upset at me. And I'm like, whoa, like, just was not expecting that response. So scurried into bed, just said, go to sleep. I love you. Don't worry about it. So the following day, I'm kind of like on fire about this. And I remember the Stephen Greer documentary, and I remember he uses a laser pointer, and I remember he does this like calling meditation where he goes outside, sees himself in space, and shows you where, North America and the city you're in, and the state, your town, and blah, 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 and kind of shows like a roadmap to like, the flying saucers, and then does the laser thing, in the sky. So I think to myself, I gotta go get a laser pointer. I gotta try this at night. Laser pointer. So it's that night. I'm doing the dishes. It's around 9:30 at night. My wife is reading in bed. Everybody's quiet. My beautiful kitty Ween is sleeping. Everybody's quiet. So I think, you know what? I'm gonna go outside. I'm gonna try this thing. Probably not gonna work, but I'm gonna try. So I go outside. I exit the kitchen. It's right off our patio. I do the meditation. I see myself in space. I follow it all the way down to where we are in Malibu. I open my eyes. My laser pointer kind of like shaking from like, but also like nerves. I do the laser pointer like 4 times in the sky. Bum, bum, bum. I wait. Nothing. I'm waiting a couple minutes. Nothing. I'm waiting 5 minutes. Nothing. 10 minutes. Nothing. I think, you know what? This is not going to work. That was a one-off. So I go outside. I get a drink. I think, you know what? I'm going to give it one more try. So I go outside. I open the door. I walk outside. I raise the laser pointer. I'm about to hit the click. And as I'm about to hit the click, boom, 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 like maybe 500 feet above the house, a purple, like a giant, the size of a helicopter, strobe of light. And I scream to my wife, Danny, get your butt out here. She runs outside. My wife is, you got to understand, my wife is English and like very proper and, doesn't know anything from drugs, doesn't do this. Is like very kind of great lady, but very straight up and down into any of it. She runs outside. She's like, what? Are you okay? What's wrong? I'm like, look. This thing, this light goes from 500 feet above me directly and moves maybe 20 feet directly over our house. Does like 10 more strobes of these perfect circle, big light flashes. She freaks out. She's like, oh wow. My God, I don't know what that is, but I'm running inside. I don't like it. I'm going to run inside. So she runs inside, and I'm standing there, and then it's gone. And then I'm like, I don't have any words. I don't understand why this is happening. I don't get it. But something's going on. So I go inside. I'm kind of like shaking from nerves. I'm kind of like freaked out, but I'm, excited. So that night passes, and every single night from that night, the first month, they would come every night and do that. I would do the meditation. I would do the laser pointer. You'd see just that big strobe of light 5 or 6 times or 2 times, and then they would be gone. That was first month, and that was every night. Now the second month, I basically, when I come home from the studio or wherever we're working, I'll come home and I'll park in my driveway around 4:30 and then make phone calls till like dusk. And so the second month, I'm in my car, I'm doing my phone calls, it's dusk, I put the phone down, and the sun is going down. I step out of my car. Before I ever started to do the laser pointer or the meditation, I step out of my car. As soon as I step out of my car, I look up in the sky, and maybe 100 feet over the house, bang, 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 lights are there again, boom. And that goes on now for a week or two. Like, no more meditations, no more laser pointer. As soon as I step out of my car, you get the big flashes of light. Then they start doing these. So then basically I'm sitting, this is month 2. I just received, 4 or 5 of those big strobes of light 100 feet up the house. Then standing there like a minute 2, this is month 2. I'm looking like, let's say, 10 feet above my head from, like directly across my point of view, 10 feet above my head. So the strobes of light just happened. Then all of a sudden you hear, and you see from the nothingness, electricity opens up from, 10 feet above my head. It's like something opens up with electricity. This baseball shooting and flies directly in front of my face, 20 feet, 10 feet above my head. And then they start doing that every night with the strobes, and then it progresses even more. Then every time I get them out of the house, they do the strobes of light, the mini shooting star, and then they start doing these things called, what I coined, the Tinkerbell lights, which are basically, the wonderful world of Disney when Tinkerbell flies in, you see all the fairy dust, that?
Yeah.
Ever seen that?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
So you fly, you see the shooting star fireball 10 feet above your head, and then you start hearing, right? Then you hear, and you look up and you see another, like maybe 10 or 15 feet above your head, this fairy dust, and then these sparks of golden blue light, purple, red, green, with this golden silver fairy dust all around with this noise. And you have to understand, this first couple of months when they would do this, I would be so afraid and I had no frame of reference, no anything to prepare me for a moment like this. I have never experienced anything in my life, nor knew what to draw on to even understand what was going on. I thought maybe, was I going to get eaten? Was I going to get a fucking thing up my butt? Or I didn't know.
That's normally my job. You go, hon.
Okay, guys. Sorry, sorry about that. So I'm trying to give you everything, but I don't want to bore you because there's so much. Tell me if I'm boring you. If I'm boring you, I can wrap it up faster.
This is not boring at all, but may I interrupt for one
Go ahead.
moment? The very first
Absolutely.
contact they had with you, that was communication, and it was telepathic communication. They were feeding off of your enthusiasm, and they were almost performing for you.
I agree.
And that is what I find fascinating.
I totally agree. I totally agree, and that's a very insightful thing. And so I totally agree. So basically month 2, we're doing this. And then it progresses more where they do all of that every night, and then I'll be looking up at the sky, like thousands of feet up. You'll see a point of light cross the entire horizon within a second, and then something would drop out of it 1,000 feet up glowing, and it would come all the way down to where I was standing in the driveway. I'm facing my house, and it would sit basically a half a foot above my roof, and I would get blasted with the most profound, loving feeling that you could ever. It's beyond anything that I could ever describe in terms of love. And then at the same time, within that loving feeling would be information. So it would be as if you had a 10-hour conversation with your best friend, all of that within a minute, and then they would slowly go invisible but still be there. So they were doing that every night, and then one day I'm driving through Topanga Canyon going back to the beach, and I'm like, okay, I think this is like month 3. If you're real, which I know you are, tell me something that I have no idea about. And then the word centric comes into my head, and I've never heard the word biocentricism, and then the name EFIS comes in. And that was really the point that I started to talk to them every day, every night, and then it goes beyond that. So I wrote biocentric down, I wrote down EFIS, I Googled it, and I was blown away by the definition. And basically, and I'm not, somebody was at my door. Basically, biocentricism, and I'm not doing the definition the justice, but it just basically means man has no inherent value over any other living thing. Everything is connected. Everything is alive and conscious. And I discovered the world's leading stem cell researcher, first man to clone an extinct species, maybe the top 2 scientists of the world, has just written 2 books, Biocentricism and Non-Biocentricism, which are basically how the universe works. Real science, maybe Nobel Peace Prize. Then they tell me, we want you to do a documentary on biocentricism, on Dr. Robert Lanza. And I'm like, I don't know anybody in the science world. I'm in the film world. This guy's like a real scientist. They want me to kind of get that out there. And just kind of a side story. So I had a friend, he knew a friend that worked. He got a hold of his number, called him up. We traded calls. I finally got him on the phone. And, I said to them, EFIS and being family, I said, I can't tell this guy what has been going on. He's going to think I'm a fucking lunatic. And they're like, no, we want you to tell him. So I got him on the phone. And if you know anything about film and TV, when you make films, documentary otherwise, usually, you have to pay for rights, from somebody. And that usually costs a lot of money if you want to do somebody's life story or you want to do an old movie. So I called the guy on the phone, finally got him on the phone, and I said, Dr. Lanza, my name is Christopher Peters, and here's what has happened. At the end of it, and he said, look, Christopher, I cannot comment on what you just said because I'm a scientist, and, we really have to kind of stay within that. But I can tell you one thing. The books Biocentricism and Beyond Biocentricism came from a similar experience, and you have for free full right to use everything in my library, my likeness, and all information. And I'm going to give you my assistant to write a 20-page dossier on how to explain this to the layman industry. Amazing thing. And then another amazing thing that happened during that time is my stepmom, Barbara Streisand, has been my stepmom for many, many years. A few times that I've tried to work with Barbara, approach her about things. He said, honey, I love you. You're my stepson. You're not a business partner. I don't want to do business with you, but I love you. But don't ask me again. So I was like, okay, got the message. No problem. So when this happened with Dr. Lanza, the thought was, let's do this documentary on biocentricism, but let's also get other amazing people who have life lessons or ideas about content. Let's add those in as interviews. So they said, then EFIS says to me, and being family says to me, okay, we want you to call Barbara and ask her to be in the documentary. I'm like, there is no way that Barbara is going to be in a documentary about UFOs or ghosts or any of this. So you could just forget it. And they're like, no, we want you to do it. I was like, okay. So when I try to reach out to Barbara, if it's by phone, I won't get a phone back for weeks. Or if it's email, that usually takes a week or two. So I email Barbara a message. I say, I'm doing this documentary on consciousness and biocentricism. Can you get back to me? I'd love to have you in the documentary. The phone rings within 30 seconds. And it's Barbara. And I'm like, uh-oh, am I in trouble? This never happens. I pick up the phone. I'm like, hello? And she's like, honey, I just have to tell you something. I am really freaked out right now. I'm like, why? What's wrong? She's like, just at this very second, I'm writing my memoir about our time in Malibu with your father. And the next chapter I'm writing about consciousness, how that's the only thing that can save humanity. And I just kind of like sit back for a minute and be blown away by the synchronicity of those things. So let me get back to the story, condense what's happened. So that happened, that's going on. So we're about 3 months into it. All of this stuff is going 4 months into it. It's progressing. You know, I'm getting like hundreds of orbs all around me all the time. You know, I did not own a camera. I buy a full spec, not a full spectrum, an infrared camera, a Bushnell. You know, I'm putting new batteries in it. They're done in 30 seconds. I have to go through 4 new batteries just to get the footage. But I'm getting all this different footage of craft and orbs and me standing in the middle of hundreds of orbs flying everywhere. And this is all outside. And up to this point, you know, I can see my eyes. I can see certain kinds of orbs with my eyes, but I can't see spirit, human spirit. I can't talk to human spirit. I can't see energy beings. I can't see mist beings. I can't see any of that stuff, nor did I even know those things existed. At this point, I knew about them as craft, the craft that I had seen, and I knew about the certain kind of. So this is going on now, videos, you know, hundreds of, you know, hours of footage, and we're 6 or 7 months into it. And then one night, I'm in my bedroom with my beloved kitty Ween. We're looking out our bedroom window to the garden, and I'm seeing hundreds of black and flying everywhere. And I'd never seen that before, ever in my life. I'm like, what is that? And then a couple of days later, I go back to the window. Now I'm not seeing the black streaks, but I'm seeing hundreds of different kinds of orbs flying everywhere from the garden, through the wall, into our room, all around me. Dark orbs, gray orbs, orbs that are so brilliantly white that they illuminate my face as they fly by in a dark room, that I later learned are angels. I am keeping this journal about everything. I've got 3 journals now, all the way up to the 7 months, about angels, about this, about that, Archangel Michael, Gabriel, Raphael. I have never been a religious person, nor did I ever believe in angels or God. I wanted God to be real. I thought it could be real. I wanted angels. They didn't know, but I am journaling about all these things because I'm having contact with these beings. And I'm saying to myself, this is crazy, but I'm writing it down in the journal just because, you know, it's happening. Anyway, so now I'm seeing orbs flying through the wall. That goes on for a couple days. And then a couple days later, it progresses. Now I'm seeing all these orbs of different shapes and sizes flying through the wall all around me, through all of my house. Now I'm starting to get these mist smoke beings, which I now later learned are some are spirits, some are them, you know, the UFO being family. All of a sudden I'm getting like, I'm seeing all the orbs, and then you see like this like mist of smoke in front of my face, twisting all around me, and all throughout the house. And then that goes on, and then a couple of days later, now a new appearance of the energy being family, which I've later learned are Arcturian, which I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy who can say they're from Venus and they're this or that, but I now have learned this. So now I'm seeing these energy being family, which I was calling them, which look like basically you'll see all the orbs and flying everywhere, and then you see blue with like silver electricity around them. Now they're everywhere, and I'm seeing now that by cool, soft touches, breezes, I'm getting touched by them. I'm being family. I'm seeing they're all in the house now with me 24/7. It's a daily, nightly thing. They never leave. And so one day, and I'm on the treadmill one morning, we're about 9 months into it, and I'm on the treadmill. It's a semi-dark room. I'm looking at my hand, and I go, oh, wow, look at my hand. There's electricity off of each one of my fingertips. And I think, I'm crazy. I've lost my mind. So I go to my wife. I say, close your eyes. I'm gonna put my hand about a foot above your leg. Can you feel this? Yes, I can feel that. And I go, honey, I have electricity coming from my fingers. Ethos and Bean family, they say it's a healing gift that they've given me. I'm not the healer, they are, but I take a part in it. It's chi energy, but it's beyond chi energy. It's not Reiki, it's beyond that. And so and she's like, sweetheart, you cannot tell people now that you're like a healer. They're gonna just, you know, put you in a fucking cell, you know. So I'm like, okay, all right, whatever. My beloved cat is my heart and soul. Absolutely love this kitty. She was a crazy kitty for many, many years. Smacked her back 2 years ago. Got a huge abscess that the doctors could not get rid of unless they did surgery, and I wasn't willing to do that. So I start working on Ween with my electricity. And by the way, I filmed the electricity coming off the fingers with my infrared camera.
Oh,
so
great.
It's real. So I start working on Ween. I'm not doing it right. I'm doing it for like 2 weeks. Nothing's really changing, maybe a little bit better. And one night, I guess a couple weeks into it, something happened. They're with me every night. The next day, I'm working on Ween. I know what I'm doing. In 2 days, the abscess is gone, and she's back to normal, running like a crazy woman. Back to normal kitty. I start playing around with my wife, saying, you want to check this out? I start working on her, like, don't know really what I'm doing. But what...
I didn't hear what he said either.
Something?
That's all right. Just go ahead and continue. Don't worry.
Anyways,
about
I'm going to try to wrap this up really quickly. I know I keep saying this, but there's so much. So basically what happened is okay. So I start working on my wife. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I kind of at one moment fall into exactly the right thing to do, where it's, I don't touch anybody. I put my hands about a half a foot above a person's body, and I fall into it, and I understand for a second what I'm doing. My wife's eyes close, her eyes start going back and forth into her head. She gets super hot. My hands go ice cold. The air gets thick between my hands. Sparks of little energy being family are popping everywhere, and then I'm out of it because I don't know what I'm doing. And she's like, "What did you just do? That was amazing." She goes into this like trance, sees lights, her arms start bouncing. So I start to research that after that night, and I find this guy, Dr. Eric Pearl. He's created this thing, reconnective healing. Everything that he is doing. This guy, Dr. Pearl, 1 year in LA, not a social guy at all. One night goes to bed, the lights go on in his house. He thinks somebody's in his house, searches the house with his gun. Nobody's there. Goes into his practice the next day, doing chiropractic work. 50 patients in a row, one after another, calls him back 2 days later and say, I can't, I can see in my eye, this on over and all these different things. He creates this thing called reconnective healing. He talks about it coming from this UFO being family. Everything that he's doing, I'm doing, they're teaching me, I'm doing exactly verbatim. And in his book, which I read and bought, all the patients talk about how whenever he works on them, they smell essence of like rose, or they feel like they see angels, or they have all these things that are all around them. Like, all these things are in my journal. Before I even knew about that, I'm writing all these things in my journal, plus how I'm doing the healings. All of it's exactly the same. Then at the end of the book, I read his thank yous to Dr. Eric Pearl. Says, if it wasn't for Stephen Wolf, successful producer friend of mine, which is my mom's best, shouldn't have been the same Stephen Wolf. It was. So it was all these crazy things. So anyway, so that's all the stuff that's been going on. And then where we are today basically is, you know, for the last many months, you know, they're with me 24/7. I talk to them 24/7. I've started doing sessions for people, healing sessions that people are getting healed of things. I've started doing phone sessions with people wanting to talk to loved ones who passed over, or being family, or any of these things. I mean, I'm answering, and I don't know what I'm doing, but it's people like this guy emailed me the other day, and he goes, what was the last thing my father thought of before he died? And I'm like, I don't know. So it was all by email. So I drove to Whole Foods, and I said to Ethos, okay, guys, you're on, because I don't know how to do this. So I got back from Whole Foods. I answered the guy in email. He calls me up 2 days later crying, saying, dude, you know, yeah, you got everything right on every one of these things. So all of that's going on. And what else? So they're with me physically in the house. If you came to my house, you would see in every corner of the house where the wall connects to the roof is a stationary orb to be filmed day and night, just sitting there. And then flying through the house are all these different kinds of orbs all the time, 24/7. Anytime you turn on the camera, it's there. At night and in the morning, we do this thing called, basically at night in the morning, I'll put my hands out, like for a night. I'll lay down on the couch before I go to bed. I put my hands, palms open, and I'll say, okay, Arcturian family and all family, love you, time to send love and receive love. And like we do this thing, I do it on the treadmill in the morning, do it in the night. So then what you see is all of a sudden mist starts flying all around me. You see all these different kinds of orbs start flying around me. Then the Arcturian family, what they look like is these big, they can go big or small, but they're see-through orbs. And in the center of the orb is a pulse, blue heartbeat pulse, blue, green, yellow, orange, electricity in them pulsing. And then what will happen is you'll see me send the electricity out to meet my hands. And then I'll say, okay, energy being family, Arcturian family, can you do a golden orb in my palms? And all of a sudden you'll see a golden orb, like mist will start to appear in my palms. And then you'll see little like pops of energy, like gold energy or whatever color I ask them to do. And then slowly an orb will start to appear, and there'll be a golden orb or a blue orb, whatever, in my palm. And then what will happen, and this is like the progression of this, is then one of the Arcturian orb family that sort of can also look like a small little UFO in the house will fly over me. I'll be lying on the couch. My wife will be next to me sleeping. My kitty Ween will be at my feet. I'm awake. Lights are off. And you'll see this Arcturian multicolored orb fly over at the top of my head. These 5 pillars of beams of light will come out of the orb that look like mist, will fly into the palms of my hand. They'll create that orb, and then what they'll do is that orb will slowly turn black and start pulsing. And then what will happen is it's pulsing blue and black energy in the palms of my hand, and the interior is all black and blue and getting darker and darker and darker. And then what will happen is that darkness will start to spill out of that orb onto the skin of my hands. And slowly but surely, as I'm watching this, and this happens now every night, this just started, this next version started about 2 weeks ago. So now what will happen is this black energy mist will come out of the orb, spill over onto my hands, turning my hand, my fingers, my hands, so then my hands are totally black, crawl up my arms, and it's moving separately from each other as if it's separated until the entire arms are black, and then my hands are black. And then what happens is I cup my hands together, leave a little opening, so the palms fill across the skin, and in its energy, not material, dark energy mist that is almost like a material, but it's energy. But you can see as I move my finger across my black hand, you can see my skin start to appear as the energy gets separate as my finger moves across it. Because what they're doing is, they taught me is,
and now apparently I've completely lost the connection. Oh, thank you, Frontier, for not cooperating this evening. Hopefully this will connect again here soon.
how they started to introduce me to what they actually look like. One of the faces is Ephus, which I have filmed on my YouTube page many months ago. So I recognized it. I'm like, oh my God, that's Ephus. And then the other faces are being family, which I've never seen before. So that is now started. And it's progression slowly, more and more every couple nights. They're doing more and more. You know, now, like, there's every night they do all of this. And then there's also this, and I'll tell you this last thing and then I'll stop. Last night, they're doing this last night, and I'm blown away. My wife is fucking snoring next to me, and the kitty's out cold, and And I'm looking at myself like going, holy shit, this is happening. I'm looking at myself on the couch. I'm seeing my chapped knees. I'm seeing my socks that are dirty. And I'm seeing this is going on. And then I see all around me, like around the perimeter of the couch, in covering the entire room, is this wavy energy. And it looks as if it's almost like a barrier, but it's energy, and it's like black and white, black and clear, like almost strobing. And I stick my hand in it to see what it is, and my fingers start to disappear and reappear. Like my pinky goes in and out, in and out, in and out. Like I'm staring at it and going, holy crap, my finger is disappearing and coming back. And I thought, oh my God, am I going to lose a finger? I pulled it out and my hand is normal. Then I stick it in, finger disappearing, half my thumb is disappearing, then back in. So I'm like, I asked them, I go, what are you doing? What is this? Is this going to hurt me? They said, no, Christopher, we're creating a space for us to be in with you, protected, because we're hunted, which I know. So anyways, that's what's going on, guys.
I have a question just real quick, and then I know Mike's got a ton of them too. Listening to how you've explained this, it is very obvious that it's happening in sessions, that it's layered and it's escalating, and it's almost like a stair step to the top, if you know what I mean.
Right.
I'm not certain whomever you've spoken to about this, especially anybody in the science field, but the second step, which you were talking about, the strobes. That's
the what part? What?
The strobes.
Which strobe part?
After the golden thing in the sky, when the strobes were coming by your face and kind of a little bit above your head.
Oh, you mean like the Tinkerbell lights as you're talking about?
Yes, that and that strobe, that flashing, and the ball that had the pulsating, like the strobe in it. When you were talking about that in your driveway.
Yeah.
Strobes this is something I actually know about, is because I have seizures because of scar tissue on my left frontal lobe. And that is one of the ways that they detect that and detect the effect that it has on your brain. And I find it fascinating because I think they were doing something very similar to you, to see your capability to understand and to project what it is that they're wanting to give you, what it is that they're wanting to show you.
You're probably right. You bring a very interesting point, which I want to say. You make a very interesting point because something happened. So what I just told you, like at night when I'm putting my palms open and all of that's going on, before the part, okay, so the first part is when they create this, like, I'll say do a green orb or a golden orb in my palms, they'll do that. So from the point of that ending to the other darker orb that comes in and then starts to bleed over, which turns my hands black, and then they project an image, the in-between stage, they do this very weird light thing that almost feels like I can't see for a second. It's like black light, and my eyes are wide open. I'm staring at my hand. They're 2 inches from my face. I'm staring because I'm fascinated with seeing this every day. There's this light thing that they do that almost feel like I get blinded for a second, like a strobe, but it's not a big strobe. It's a very soft, it's almost hard to even see that it's strobing, but it does this really weird thing like that you pointed out. I think maybe you're right. I don't know.
Yeah. Mike, are you with us?
I hope so.
I think he froze again.
Did
Mike,
I just freeze again?
Okay.
It was great there for just a moment and then died again.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's been a tough evening on my end, unfortunately.
Oh.
So,
unfortunately, Illinois is not good on the whole internet thing. I'm in Oklahoma.
yeah,
is that a problem with Illinois everywhere?
Our area is particularly bad. The last couple of weeks.
It is where they're not so much. I know, right?
Is he there?
All right, I'm here. It's just in and out. I don't know at all. And I think it's down again.
He's going in and out. Let me ask you another question while we're waiting for my kind of change has really been, and the way that you feel like you need to move forward has been altered in some way that it was even just a few years ago. Is that a statement you would agree with?
Yeah, I mean, I basically what has happened. I've changed.
Oh, did we lose Chris?
And now I think we lost Chris. Wow. Okay. Well, this has been I mean, Chris has been fantastic.
We lost Chris.
Chris has been fantastic, but yeah,
he's wonderful.
He is. He really is. He's got a lot of information, a lot of story to tell. It's been a tough night with the internet, and somebody mentioned down there in the chat. I wonder if it's somebody trying to prevent the show from happening. Something something extra out there.
This has been the worst night we've had.
Yeah, like ever. Like ever. And there's nothing else I can do about it.
Ever. So
yeah. I have shut down about everything that I could shut down to make sure that it's only these couple of things. It's not on my end. It's not on the computer end, at least. So I hope he's able. Not at all. I hope he's able to call back in.
Now this has been very, very interesting.
It really has been.
And I don't know if you heard what he and I were talking about, but on a clinical level, when he was talking about the strobe lights and everything, I can completely relate to that because that's how they check for seizures.
Yeah, that's the part that actually came in the clearest. We were like green for just that part of the conversation because, it has different colored lights, right? And so it was green for like that part of the conversation, and then that's when everything went kaplooey, and you guys couldn't hear me, and then Chris dropped.
Yeah. This has really, really, really been enlightening, though. I mean, I'm fascinated. I want to know more.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's like, I do have questions. It's like,
I know.
He had such a great story going on. Yeah, no, he had such a great story going on. A lot of information.
I felt bad for you, Mike, because every time it looked like you were trying to start talking, it would freeze, and I'm like, I got to keep this going. Well,
and you're my co-host, so that's what you do, of course. But yeah, and like right now it's green. Yeah, okay. Now you have to be green.
Yeah, I know, right?
So.
Well, yeah, that we're gonna have to, if we can ever get the chance, and maybe do the show from a different location where the bandwidth is a little bit better. We need to see about getting him on it.
Yeah, I'll if he doesn't come back. I don't know what happened on his end. Oh, I think he's back.
Yay!
Hey, he's back.
I'm back.
Fantastic. Yeah. Your connection dropped. We finally got green over here. I mean, I was dead red, and then you dropped, and then everything went green. So I had no idea.
That's weird. This phone never does that, and so I dropped out.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's weird.
That is insane.
Yeah. So basically what I was saying in answer to your question is I've dedicated my life now to creating this healing business, doing phone sessions with people, healings with people. By the way, again, my website is elementalhealing@yahoo.com. Phone number 918-8704, 818-918-8704. Elemental spelled with 2 L's, Elemental Healing. So I'm doing that now as my main focus. But the bigger picture is about universal love, healing, happiness, and peace for all life and all worlds, oneness, connection, and raising the consciousness as we all talk about. But in my opinion, what that really means is teaching people that there is no veil, that is only really about one thing in relation. It's about relationship. And if people don't know they exist, they don't know to stick their hand out and introduce themselves. And I am doing that with people now. I'm taking people through the process of putting their hand out, telling interaction and connecting, and then having their own ongoing experience. And that is really the bigger picture for me. And I've started a project called Project for Mother Earth, which we've already raised millions of dollars for. It's literally about one thing: taking back the physical land of Earth and giving it back to Earth and holding in it trust as a sovereign nation for Earth. And we are doing that. And it can be done. And I've hired major big law firms to do that. So I am coming at this like gangbusters, and I am collecting hours and hours and hours of footage so that I can then go to Barbara and go to David Geffen or whoever these people are that I know and say, check this out. This is real. Give them stuff to look at they can't deny or talk themselves out of, and then physically taking them outside and having a physical interaction with them, which I've now done a couple times. And so my goal is to not just talk about healing Earth, but to take back Earth and give it back to her, and then hold it in trust as a sovereign nation so nobody can touch it. And these are things that you can do legally, and we're doing them. And then raise a big enough war chest fund to continue doing that, teaching people the process, and then having them start their own little pods, raising their own little money to go out and take more land back and hold it in trust, and then basically be, caretakers of that land, but not own it. No one owns it except Mother Earth. It's in trust for her. And so my entire life is dedicated to this. And this is why all of my relationship is about, why they're with me 24/7 physically in all ways. And it's going to continue even growing from here. That is what it's about for me. And in terms of film and TV, I'm only doing stuff that is dedicated to these types of messages. And the crazy thing is I'm getting some amazing projects exactly in our world that we're doing. So that's where that's going.
That is synchronicity. That is what you were talking about earlier, and what Mike and I talk about at great length, is that people are brought together, situations are thought up together, and ideas are formed together for the greater good.
Totally.
And it's a beautiful thing to watch happen. It truly is.
Yeah, it's amazingly hopeful, because what I'm left with at the end of the day is, prior to this, I thought, okay, I may never be the person that I want to be. I feel like a ghost in a machine. I don't feel like I fit really anywhere. Even though I'm able to do this or do that, it's not who I am. I guess I don't get to live my passion this time around. I guess what dreams may come may never come. I guess great forces of good don't really exist. I guess anything is possible doesn't really exist. And what this has taught me is that, yes, it all does. And not only does it exist, but they're right next to us all the time, 24/7, have our interest and all interest for the great. Now, that doesn't mean that there are not some bad energies and people out there. Yes, there are. But the majority of beings around us all the time, it's not about going to a place it's really just about a relationship. It's really just about putting yourself out there to them and your name and who you are and asking for it, and then showing that consistent effort that you want to have a relationship, that you care about them. And then the whole veil, all of it is revealed, and you figure out, oh my God, not only is there no veil, but we're swimming together every second in God, which is everything, which is this energy, this conscious energy that connects all things, and that everything is possible and connected.
It's fascinating that you bring up the veil, because I just did a YouTube video, I think it was last night, on my private YouTube page, or not private, but just the one that's just mine. And that was almost my exact words, as I said, I was talking about a particular time and said it was around October when people will say that the veil is thinnest. Veil doesn't really exist to me. I'm in this all the time. And that's
Correct.
exactly what it is. There's no escape, but I don't want to escape either. This is my life.
The whole veil thing, or the whole we got to go to this place because there's more UFO activity, or this house because it's haunted, that is connected to the bullshit theory of separateness that we've been fed as a society.
Yes.
You know, that's part, that thought is connected to that. See, in my experience, let's think of God as the ocean, okay? And we are fishes swimming through the ocean, and being family and spirit family, and all things are in the ocean. And so there is, it's not about going here or going there. We are in it 24/7, all around us, all the time, a part of it. There is no separation. And so people have, and I'm not articulating it great, but people have a hard time understanding that and learning. I didn't know, there is no veil. There is no separateness. It's all there. It's just about relationship and intention. And I think when people realize that, everything changes.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
I think you articulated that just fine.
In my opinion, I'm no master of anything. This is my own personal experience.
None of us are.
Yeah, and I think that's what we do is that we have an experience and we share that experience with people,
Yeah.
and we all end up relating to it in some way, shape, or fashion. And so that's I'm really appreciating, even though you kept apologizing over and over again. I really appreciated you sharing your entire story at the beginning. It was absolutely fascinating.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Now, how did you guys come together? How did this all start for you? Because you guys do really great stuff. I love your show.
Thank
you.
Appreciate that. We met about 8 years ago when I was living in Oklahoma. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've Mike and I have investigated together. Mike is the amazing friend of mine who finally convinced me to write my first book because he is such a gifted writer himself. And he's my buddy.
Yeah. We're great buddies.
Do you guys, that's great. And so when you guys connected, was it instantaneous, like, oh, we really get each other as friends? And was it that?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And Mike, how did you come to writing about, I'm assuming, paranormal stuff or all things, or?
Yeah. Well, I've been writing ever since I was a kid. I was 7 years old when I started writing my first stuff. It was mystery, mostly mystery back then. I wrote a couple of ghost stories and things like that back then. Even some historic fiction, if you can imagine that, from a 7-year-old. So it's something.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing and crazy, but something that's always been with me. And you talk about synchronicity of the world. I put out my first mystery novel back in 2004, and it was kind of a slow go of it. And then like I said, I had a couple of paranormal short stories and whatnot out there, and then all of a sudden, my first ghost book, Ghosts of Maryland, just fell into my lap. My editor contacted me, said, "Hey, our publishing house is looking to expand their line of paranormal books. You're living in Maryland," which I was at the time. Would you be interested? And it's like, yeah, are you kidding me? Of course. And it's, like you're saying, synchronicity of the world has just kind of evolved and blown up since then. Yeah. I'm
so in awe of both of you for writing books. It's so hard to write anything. It's so hard to keep the muscle of following through of writing every day and committing to that. And that's just an amazing accomplishment on its own. And I just love that. Do you just love writing? Do you hate
it's a passion.
Process, or you love it. That's so cool.
Gotta write. Well, and Mike and I both, we both have full-time careers, and he runs, and on top of his career, he runs our publishing house. On top of being a pediatric dental assistant, I'm an artist as well. I just showed in Chicago in September. So
that's exciting.
It's all of it is just it's us. It's just what we do. I don't think we would know what to do if we weren't running.
Pretty much.
That's a lot of stuff going. So what kind of art do you like to do? Is it painting or what kind of art?
I paint, I sculpt, and I jewelry design.
Oh, I love that. That's amazing. And you're a pediatric dentist?
Pediatric dental assistant. Mm-hmm.
So for kids. So
yes,
how long have you been doing that for?
For 20 years. I actually work with the underserved. I work with some of my patients are inmates in juvie. Some of my patients are just young children in foster care. Some with families. But I've done it for 20 years.
That's amazing. It's so amazing that you can have all this working stuff going on, and then on top of it, you're able to pursue your passion, and not only pursue it, but be not articulate. I was going to say articulate, but prolific. That's really inspiring for me. I really, because I'm like a total newbie to all of this, and I love it, and I just want to be a part of it and share it, and I think that's great. So with you guys, where do you see? Do you want to keep writing books? Do you want to write movies? Like, where do you see creatively, like, you guys going? What do you want to do?
Oh, my stars!
All of it. Yeah.
All of it.
All of it. I mean, it's certainly, keep writing books. Write a movie would be absolutely fantastic. We do a lot on the YouTube channel as far as, we have the show like this one, the one that follows this, a lot of different informational videos. Of course, we do the paranormal investigations and all that. So, we're churning. I mean, we have over 650 videos out here right now.
Wow.
And so it's. Yeah, I mean, and it all comes down to, trying to share what we're learning, with everybody else. It's not to toot our own horns or anything like that.
Right.
We're all sharing in this, like in the chat, which we really haven't gotten to much of the chat. And sorry, down there, guys, this evening. There's a lot of back and forth that we usually have with those that are watching us, and they'll throw out different ideas and different experiences and what have you, which is absolutely fantastic. And so it's this huge coming together.
That's actually my dream. Mike just hit the nail on the head. We were talking about this earlier. Mike and I were. My dream is to actually travel the country or the world and tell people's true stories. To sit down with them. To sit down with them, just as one human to another. No judgment. No heckling. No guy in the back yelling "you're crazy." And just talk to them and get their stories out there so that people can start to see that connectivity between all of us.
I think I love that. I love everything you guys are both saying, and you should do that. When I met Andrea, who introduced me to you guys, I just really loved. She's such a great person, and I just am such a fan of hers. Just of who she is as a person, and plus what she's done. But I'm trying to help her, and I'm really about helping. If it's if something that I connect with, I got her together with a friend of mine for her next stuff, and that might happen. So with you guys, if you ever want to send me something like to read, that you think could make a film, ghost or otherwise, I'm happy to read it. But with what you just said about your idea about traveling the world and interviewing people, I have a friend of mine, my friend Seth, who has a company, and he doesn't do theatrical, but he sells U.S., Canada, Mexico, everything but theatrical. So basically what he does is he helps people make deals with Netflix or Showtime, etc. This idea is a great idea, like maybe, you can do a little bit at a time, but what I'm trying to say is, do it, because right now, more than any other time, you can sell movies or TV shows. It doesn't have to be major production, and they still can get major deals and be seen all around the world, get paid, etc., get out in distribution. So, it's really all out there to be done. It's not. You just maybe need a little guidance or the right people to talk to. And I'm happy. What I'm saying is, I'm happy to be that person for you. If it's something that an idea that I like, that I feel like, okay, represents, good stuff, then I want to help you. I want to help her. That's important to me too.
That would be wonderful.
That would be absolutely fantastic. And I think a lot of times, it comes down to just not knowing which direction to step in, not having that guidance. So certainly if you're willing to do that, it'd be wonderful.
Absolutely. Yeah. I know, Rob Tappert's sort of well. That's Sam Raimi's partner. You know, they do a lot of really scary movies and cool ghost things. And, you know, there are a lot of different people that I know that are making movies as producers or filmmakers or whatever. Yeah, it's I would love to. You know, if you have something that you think is cool, let me read it, you know, and if I can help you, I will. And that's it, bottom line, you know. And I mean that. I'm not just saying it to sound like a cool guy. I really mean that. I have to like it, but if I like it, I'm happy to help you, and I don't want anything from it. I don't want to be a producer on it. I just want to help you get to where you're going, because that brings me a lot of joy. I really love that. I love when I do these healings on people. I am just a second away from sobbing all the time from such joy, because I cannot believe it's happening, and it is. And I'm so grateful to be a part of it. And I'm so awestruck by, oh my God, that just happened. You know, and that goes with all of it, you know. So this is all amazing work to do, you know, and it's the most important thing, because at the end of the day, it's about everyone, and it's about everyone's freedom and happiness and connection, and to be loved, to be fulfilled, because that's what all of this is about.
Absolutely.
Yep, definitely.
Could not agree more.
Yeah. So if you have something cool, guys, that you want to do, or you have written, send it to me. I can give you my private email, or you can send it to my other email. And as far as your film idea, I think it's a great idea. I just saw something on Netflix the other day with my wife that was not that kind of thing, but something where a guy traveled the world and interviewed certain people about a certain subject, but it got a huge release on Netflix, and you know, and you can make a movie like that. The most expensive thing about that movie is your plane ticket, not the editing or the filming.
Oh my gosh, it is so funny that you mentioned that, because I leave for Chicago on Friday. I'm going up there. I have dinner meetings with some people, and then I have to come back and go to work. I'm driving 14 hours for one day and then driving back.
Yeah.
You do what you got to do.
Yeah. But that's what I'm actually in the process of doing right now, is trying to find a sponsor for my plane tickets to Ireland, because I have everything else covered. Hotel, I've got that sponsored. I've got rental car sponsored, because I'm filming a documentary in Ireland in July.
Are you doing this documentary that you told me about, or something different?
It is part of that. It is interviewing people, because I'm also writing my 5th book will be called Hidden Gems. And it's about people and places of Ireland that have extensive paranormal and supernatural history that people don't know about. That's why it's called Hidden Gems.
Oh, I love it.
I actually have access through contacts of my own that I'm not disclosing publicly. I actually have access to locations that major network can't even get into. So,
beautiful. When you make your, you know, if either one of you have current documentaries that you've made, or you're going to make some, let me see whatever it is that you have made, or if you're going to make something, when it's done, let me see it, and then I can introduce you to, you know, my friend Seth, you know, any minute you want to meet Seth. And Seth is a great contact for selling stuff, but also, my friend's sister, Channing Dungey, just became the head of Netflix TV. So, so that's so I'm, you know, look, hey, they're buying stuff all day and all night. So I'm happy to pass stuff along, you know, happy to help you guys, you know, whatever you want. Just
wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're just a hidden gem, Christopher. You know that.
He is. He absolutely is.
And you're gonna see if we stay friends, which I hope we will. You're gonna see that I'm not just talking out my ass, but that I follow through. That what I say is what I mean, and that I really do love helping people. You know, I gotta like it, but
sure.
If I like it, you know, absolutely. You know, because a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, I'll help you," and then you never hear from them. That ain't me. I am not that person. I am true blue in that way. Loyalty is a huge thing.
Loyalty is everything.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. Yeah.
So, all right. Well,
this has just been wonderful, Mike.
It really has. Yeah, Christopher, we'll definitely have to have you back for sure.
Oh,
so if you're open to doing that.
Oh yeah, I love it. Thank you. I really had a good time talking to you guys, and I would love to be back whenever you want. Let me know.
Yeah, I'll definitely be in contact with you, and we'll set something else up. I'm sure we'll be talking a lot. So yeah, we're past our hour, which is great. It means we've had a fantastic guest. So Christopher, can you tell everybody your website again so they can find you?
Yeah. Absolutely. If you want to contact me for like a phone session, if you want to speak to a loved one who's passed over, or you want to meet your own being family, there is a process that I'm taking people through. Or if you want to do a healing, you can email me at elementalhealing@yahoo.com. Elemental is ELL, not normally spelled like, with two L's, but elementalhealing@yahoo.com, or call me at 818-918-8704 and I'll call you back. Thank you.
All right, fantastic. There you go, guys. Get in touch with them. Check them out.
This has been wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Have a beautiful night. Be safe. Wear your seatbelts. Love being with you.
All right. Thanks so much. Have a great night.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, that was absolutely fantastic. And yes, like Shauna says, we'll keep track of the questions. I've got them copied over here. Just with the way everything happened with the show, the disconnects, the buffering, all of that. Hopefully we'll get that ironed out for next time. And we'll get those questions off them, because I know there were several down there in the chat. But yeah,
I know even my chat froze.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, absolutely crazy tonight. So, yeah, you wonder. I mean, there's for all the wonderfulness of the entities he was talking about, maybe that other side, because there's always another side. Maybe that was trying to interfere. I don't know.
I think that could very possibly be the case.
Yeah, I
really do. But that was absolutely fascinating. And I've got to walk my little one, and I know you're going to be late for your other show. So, Mike, it's been a pleasure as always.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess we'll do shout outs with the next show then, because we've got to switch over. So sorry, a little unorthodox this time, guys, but kind of the nature of the beast with the craziness that we had. Yeah, we're keeping it real. Yeah, so
bye, hon.
All right, take care, Vanessa. And Mad Hatter's up next, Inside the Upside Down. So this will be the paranormal experience, not paranormal experiences, the UFO experiences of Shauna and I. Plus, we got some NSA secrets coming up. Stay tuned for that in a few minutes here. Shout out to everyone who hung in here with us. Yes. Shout out to everybody who hung in. So, I will say $5 super chat superstar, Tom McNicholas. Do appreciate that. And, we'll definitely have Chris back soon so that, we can get all those questions in. We'll see you guys inside the Upside Down coming up here in just a few minutes. All right. Take care.